Hey guys, welcome back to another league race here today on F1 2020, and as you can tell by the title, we are back for another race in PSGL. Now, in today's race, we are at Silverstone, and of course, in traditional Silverstone weather, it is raining for qualifying and the start of the race. But real quick, if you guys missed the previous round of the championship, I believe at Zandvoort, then go check it out, guys. I'll leave a link up in the top right-hand corner of your screen. But today, we are here for the British Grand Prix, and it's a bit of an interesting session because if you guys watched on stream, you'll know we actually did the usual Q1, Q2, Q3 qualifying, and midway through Q2, Steam went down, so we had to restart the entire thing. And because we was tight for time, instead of doing a full qualifying, we did a short qualifying for a change, which is not what we normally do in this league. So everyone basically out on track at the same time, as we're all pretty much fighting for track position and trying to get a lap on the board. And in this short qualifying, of course, it was same conditions as before to keep it fair. And I was trying to find my pace. Now, in this video, you're going to see me struggle quite a bit. And the reason for that is because it seems like even though I feel great and I've got good pace, at least that's what it feels like to me, I'm not that fast in the rain at the moment with my new pedals. Even though I could say I'm still getting used to them, in the rain for some reason, even though I can nail a lap and it feels absolutely fantastic, it doesn't actually translate to lap time. So I'm in a bit of a mental rut and I'm kind of hitting a wall. Maybe one day when I get a bit of time, I might just hop on Time Trial and just turn loads of laps in the rain, because I'm missing something at the minute in terms of pace that I'm not able to get back from what I had with my previous pedals, which I was actually quite quick with. So yeah, we moved to qualifying, and this was going to be, I believe, one of my best laps in qualifying, because I was really struggling both in the dry and in the wet through turn 3 and 4, which is these two corners right here. And this was the lap where I kind of unlocked that mental lock that I had. You know, I couldn't find the pace, and somehow magically I found 4/10 on this lap through that section as we run through the final corner, across the line, and go P11 with a 33.4, which wasn't a bad lap, to be honest with you. The pace was pretty strong and everyone was extremely competitive. We then moved though into the end of qualifying, and this was my best lap of the session. Now, I just had a cool down lap, so the tyres are in the right temperature. We've got enough fuel and ERS to go for one more lap here, so we're going to give it absolutely everything as we head through turns 1 and 2. Didn't quite get the line right, lost about half a tenth, almost a tenth of a second through there, to be fair. We then go through turns 3 and 4, and in fairness, I actually did this pretty decently. We, let's say, lost a tenth in the first sector, but I lost most of that through turns 1 and 2. So yeah, hopefully we can still recover and fight back, as we're only a tenth down on my PB. We're a couple of tenths down though in the first sector. That was by far my weakest one, you know, both for myself and for my teammate Philip Presnader. We just had no pace through there. Checkered flag falls though in qualifying. You can see I'm trying to get the exit out of Luffield, which I don't really get. I get some oversteer. But crucially, we are still up by about half a tenth heading into Copse corner. 8th gear carrying the speed through here. I run off the track, run wide, but I actually got out of the throttle quite a lot, to the point where I didn't invalidate, but you can see I lost my entire 1/10 advantage. So not ideal, but nonetheless we keep on pushing here. I had a pretty good S section. I managed to recover the lost time, and in theory I did a purple middle sector, which I'm not too convinced about, as we then make our way up towards Stowe. 6th gear, just trying to get that inside curb for a bit of rotation as we try and get the power down in our race towards the final chicane. Braking as the curb appears on the right hand side. 3rd gear, tip the car in, short shift through the kind of direction crossover, and then try and get the traction down as we run up to the line, and we improve by just over a tenth, almost a tenth and a half. We go P12 at the time. Eventually though, after qualifying, we got pushed down to P13. So there's a lot for qualifying, half a second off the pole position time, and looking at the lap back, I probably think P10 was possible. That was probably the maximum. I think there was a bit of a mistake, of course, through turns 1 and 2, and I ran wide at Copse as well. I had to drop a tenth through there as well. So yeah, there's probably about 2/10 in the lap. Could have maybe even challenged my own teammate for P9, but that would have been the absolute maximum, I think. But still, good pace, half second off the pace. You know, it took a lot of work, but I got there in the end, and I wasn't, you know, too disappointed. I was actually quite happy with that, because the lap felt decent and I was able to get some decent pace out of my pedals, which was really, really good. Nonetheless though, that is going to be it for qualifying, and we're now going to move into the race, which is scheduled to be wet, dry conditions. And here we are then for the race. You can see it's already raining, just like in qualifying, starting on the intermediates. And we're going to try and send it, hope for the best, and see what happens. We've got one eye on the sky, one eye on the track, because the weather conditions are scheduled to change as the lights are on here for the British Grand Prix. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go. We actually get a decent start, actually, which is something I've been struggling with my new pedals in all conditions. We managed to challenge Carl Mitchell into turn 1 here. We're going to go around the outside. Bit of contact there, and the Vasta Racer goes for a half spin in the Mercedes, and we're going to use that to gain a place up into P12 around the outside of turn 3. Lots of contact here, end plates falling off. We're going to try and avoid the carnage here down the inside at turn 4. Tried to keep Nicolas Mattel behind, but unfortunately I wasn't able to, and he goes around the outside and picks up P12. We've now got Joe behind us in the McLaren. He's going to try and go for a move. I'm using enough ERS to try and stay ahead as we head into Brooklands here. He's going to go to the inside, and I'm going to try and fight back here the long way round, which gives me the inside into Lovefield. There's a slight bit of contact and foreshadowing for what's going to happen later on in this race as we get a pretty decent exit out of them. I'm going to drain the battery and try and edge ahead of the McLaren. Joe fighting quite hard here as we head down towards Copse Corner, leaving just about enough room on the outside as we take the inside line. Joe though with a cutback, he's going to go back underneath and get the run, and he's going to get the momentum, and I have to yield. I don't want to go side by side into here. It's just a complete pointless exercise and time loss, which is not what we want. Going through Chapel now though. We're going to try and see if we can get a good exit. Maybe try and get this one back. I don't really want to drain all my ERS on the first lap if possible, but in a way, the way people are driving is kind of forcing me to have to use it, as now Julian goes down the inside in the AlphaTauri late braking maneuver. We're going to try and hold it the long way round once more. Now racing down towards the final chicane. We're going to try and hold it on the inside here, braking nice and late, but Julian goes the long way round, and he's going to take the inside line, and I have to let it go. And now Dylan Warren going through as well in the racing point, and I just can't do nothing at this point. I'm just literally just going backwards. I've got nothing to respond with here. Everyone's just flying past, and I just can't get any kind of move done, to be honest with you, as now Ruben Vallejo is looking for the overtake in the other racing point. We tried to go back up the inside of Warren there, but we can't do much about it, and now Vallejo makes the move around the outside, inside line through turn 4. We're going to try and out-traction him, but it's not possible, and he gets the move done, and in the space of a lap, we lose 5 places, or 4 places, I believe, which was extremely disappointing. I tried to re-challenge, but no point. You know, it was really frustrating, actually. All that hard work in qualifying undone in literally a lap. You know, that really mentally it knocked me a little bit, because I don't know why I'm slow in the rain. You know, I was really struggling mentally this race. You know, you guys know I'm trying to improve my pace. I'm trying to get faster and faster, and it's just not happening at the minute, and it's frustrating me as now Dario Iemulo goes for a move in the Red Bull. I'm going to try and fight again, but you know, this isn't ideal for me because it's more time loss. You know, cars making moves, but luckily this time I was just about able to stay ahead, but now through the final corner I get forced a little bit wide, and I have to just let it go. I can't really fight this any longer, and again it's a pointless exercise. We're losing so much time to the cars ahead. You know, it just doesn't work for none of us, and I have to let go. I'm not aggressive enough, but I haven't really got the pace to justify being that aggressive at the moment, which is really frustrating. And like I was saying, I don't know what it is, but with my new pedals in the rain, I just don't seem to have any pace, and it's really, really scary how it feels good to me. I feel quick. I feel like, oh yeah, I've nailed that lap, I've nailed that corner, and in reality I haven't. You know, it's a really scary feeling. And now you can see here, lap 5, I run wide through Copse, and now Vasta Racer is all over the back of us looking for a move here. So yeah, again, more of the same in many ways. You know, we're just trying to defend and not drop all the way through the field, really, because that's all we can really do at the moment. Vasta Racer is going to use quite a fair bit of ERS here and have a little bit of a look up the inside, but he doesn't quite commit to the move, and we're going to stay in P18 for now. I believe a few cars actually going to the pit lane, and this was actually quite weird. Quite a fair amount of the cars pitting for dry tyres already, and it was a baffling choice. I could not believe it when that happened, and I saw it, including people like Nicolas Longay, for example, in the pit lane. That's going to backfire for them quite badly because the track is still a long way away from dries. And you can see now lap 7, this is now when the track pretty much dried up for dry tyres and it was time to pit. So we're going to box in. We're going to go for a set of the medium tyres into the pit entry. nice and tidy as Julian speeds and picks up a 5-second stop-go penalty. So,
it's such a slow pit
yeah,
lane,
so far, okay, decent enough. We've gained 4 places because of those guys who pit, you know, a long time ago for mediums, and will benefit from that. But again, here we get held in the pits. Of course, my teammate had to pit before me. In hindsight, I wish I'd stayed out. And then I'm going to get held again here because I missed my gear shift, unfortunately, and I lost about half a second, but that half a second was just enough where Julian somehow stayed ahead of me. You know, I couldn't believe it that he managed to get out ahead of me there. That was really frustrating, and all because I missed the shift, which was really annoying because sometimes, you know, when it's other people, I get annoyed, but when it's myself, it hurts even more. So, yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get past. Julian lost quite a bit of time in the pits, being held by my teammate, of course, who had to serve his stop, and also, you know, not putting away on time and then getting held by Julian, of course, when he rejoined. And then, honestly, my pace when I rejoined the track on mediums was absolutely horrible. Julian, you can see, is 1.4 up the road. He's absolutely pulled away from me. And now Nicholas Longue going for the move down the inside into Stowe. And, of course, in typical eSport racer fashion, Forrest Vyers has to go for the dive here because he doesn't want to lose contact with Longue, so he absolutely sends one on me. I could not brake any later because otherwise I was going to hit the back of Longue, which I hit him anyway, but I didn't want to hit him harder, otherwise I would have got ring damage. So I kind of got pinned in, really. Nowhere for me to go as we get our first warning for track limits, and we have to let Flores go by. In the meantime, Vasta Racer has got an overcut on us on the intermediates, and he's come out ahead of us, which is not entirely surprising, you know, considering the last lap or so.
Yeah, you lost,
and he's going to be ahead of us, but I'm going to try and get past straight away because I don't want to lose another place here. So I'm going to fight back, use my ERS. We're going to go down the inside here into Brooklands. I know his tyres are a bit cold, so we're going to benefit from having nice warm tyres, and we're going to go through and pick up P17 in this race, which is not what I hoped for. I knew I'd struggle. Silverstone is one of my worst tracks in this game, it seems. I just don't have the pace, and that's quite frustrating. But yeah, lap 10 now of the race, and the track is pretty much well and truly dried up. Vasta Racer looking for the move here. He actually has a bit of a look into turn 3, thinks better of it, and tucks back inside. Worth noting, Joe in the McLaren actually is behind us again, so something happened to him, I believe, in the pit stop phase, and he's behind us. So we're getting another place there. So we're P17, and pretty much at this stage, every lap was more or less the same. It was just trying to stay in the DRS of Longue and Flores Vyers, because hopefully they can drag us along and drag us towards some points. That was really what I could hope for and hang on for, really. So yeah, that was the plan of action, really. Vasta Racer trying to go for a move, and I was doing a good job of, you know, just defending, keeping him behind me. Again, I don't want to waste time battling. Now that it's dry, it helped me out a bit. I had a bit more pace in the dry conditions, but even then, I didn't have the pace that I expected. Dare I say, even the pace that I had in practice, I was a lot quicker when I was practicing for the race, as we get our second warning for track limits. And yeah, pretty much, we hit a bit of a DRS train and hit a bit of a rut. Lap 13, Vyers got past Longue, and Longue is actually going to pit and retire from the race. He had no ERS left, had a couple of time penalties, and maybe wasn't even going to make it on tyres to the end because they pit quite early on lap 5. So he retires, calls it a day, and now the same plan as before. Try and stick with Flores. Hopefully he can drag me along, and you never know, we could maybe score some points. So lap 14, we actually have a spinner ahead. That is going to be that's Julian now when in the Alpha Tauri. So we gain a place, and we're now up to P15 in this race here on these medium tyres. Still a long way away from points, but crucially, I don't have a time penalty. So if more cars had to get penalties, we could potentially get back in the race here as Julian retires from the race. Lap 18 now, though. You see Flores makes a bit of a mistake at the final corner, runs a bit wide. He's got 6 seconds worth of time penalty, so right now we're finishing P14. Vasta Racer getting pretty close, putting the pressure on us here actually a little bit, and he's going to get a good run up into turn 3. I'm going to brake nice and late though and stay ahead for now, but then out of turn 3 I just get the power on a bit too much. I get a big snap of oversteer, lose the back end, and I lose the place to Vasta Racer. And also now Joe is going to try and come by here. I'm trying to not use too much ERS because I want to save what I got left, but it just seems like if you don't drain your ERS in league racing, you're going to get left for dead. But it's so uncomfortable, and then through here, contact, and just like lap 1, really, it was the exact same situation, but this time we went for a half spin, and game over. We're P17, last. Yeah, it was painful, man. I can't lie. It was one of them races. It really hurt me, this one. You know, mentally, it was painful, accepting, that I just wasn't quick, and I put a lot of practice in for this race. You know, I tried really hard to work on my pace. I worked really hard on my sector ones, which is, you know, a real weak point for me for some reason. I just can't find pace through there, and I managed to go on top of it. You know, I done practice. I was able to keep up with my teammate in the practice race that we did, and just generally the pace was good. But when it came around to the event, I just lost everything. Dare I say, I was maybe a bit mentally fatigued. You know, I don't usually do this much practice for a league race.
Good point.
And this is why I say I'd never do esports, because these kind of races where mentally it's on another level and it's so draining, I don't think I can do it. And this was a real tough race for me, to the point where I actually decided to skip the next league race on Sunday for ORL because I just wanted a break. And I'm still kind of mentally coming back to accept terms that this was not a race for me, and I'm going to try again this Thursday in Monza. But yeah, lap 25, we get the time penalty. At this point, I lost my head. I was just, you know, down. And yeah, last lap of the race, we're going to come home for P16 and last place, which is not what I had in mind, I've got to be honest. That, you know, if it had been a dry weekend all the way through, it could have been a much better weekend for us. But even then, in the race, I'm just not aggressive enough. Mentally, I seem to fall apart. I'm not good enough with my ERS, it seems. And yeah, I just got to, you know, keep working. Again, with the new pedals, I've lost a lot of pace in the rain. My plan really is quite simple, and I'm just hoping that for F1 2021, I'm back to full pace. You know, that's when I'm looking to be, you know, back on top and challenge for, you know, big league racing honours, basically. So the rest of this year's game cycle was all about just trying to improve, really. As you can see, the final race results. In the meantime, in the background, we finished 55 seconds off the race winner again, which is really, really painful to accept. And one of my heaviest kind of L's I've taken in a long time. By far my worst race on this game, by far. Just no pace at all. We then look at the driver standings, and of course I'm like P16, 17 I believe. I've got 4 points to my name. My teammate Philip Presnader though is joint top with Barry Burman, so that's spicing up a little bit. And of course for the constructors, we are in second place. Philip doing a great job. He scored 51 of the points, and fair play. We're still in second. We're just ahead of McLaren, Mercedes and Williams, so we're still hanging in there, but I need to try and score some points because I'm not really pulling my weight. Either way guys, that is going to be it from me here today for this league race in PSGL for the British Grand Prix. If you enjoyed me in pain and suffering, then feel free to slap a like on it. It'd really help me out, guys. Let's try and hit 800 likes on this video. That'd be a bit of an optimistic margin, but you never know, it could happen. Subscribe for more daily F1 content on the channel, and thanks as always to the members of the channel for supporting. Check out the 2 videos on screen, and I'll see you guys next time for some more league racing content. Until then, take care, and let's go out from me.